For just the second time since a crushing Game 5 defeat in the 2008 World Series, Tampa Bay returns to the city of brotherly love. Tonight, lefty Matt Moore goes to the Hill, making his fourth start of the season. It's an interleague showdown between the Rays and the Phillies, and it's all on Sun Sports. For the Rays, this is stop number 2 on their road trip, and it is a hot Philadelphia. It feels like 97 degrees in contrast to when the Rays finished the World Series here in October of 2008. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. As the Rays move back into interleague play, they're 6-3 against National League clubs, and they're looking for something good tonight here with Matt Moore on the mound, making his fourth start since coming off the DL and a victory his last time.
Baby steps. Hey, for Matt Moore, it's baby steps. And as far as outings go, the numbers say last time was the best. He was able to complete 5 innings. He gave up 3 runs, picked up his first victory, and I don't know how long. It was a long time. While the velocity is still not there, and Matt Moore has said, listen, velocity for me at this point is a luxury. It's not a necessity. And while that's true, what is necessary is command. And that's what you look for here tonight with Matt Moore. If he's getting the pitches, especially the fastball, to the spots where he wants them, where the catcher is set up, he'll have a clean outing. If he does not, it will be a battle. It will be a struggle. We'll wait and see.
And here's the pitching matchup. Matt coming off that victory over Houston, a 5-inning start, allowing 3 runs, 3 walks, and 5 hits in that one, but nevertheless a victory. And David Buchanan, a young right-hander, winless. He's coming off 5 innings against the San Francisco Giants and a no decision. That's his 1 outing since he has returned to the Phillies from the minor leagues. He comes in with a mark of 0-5. Just moments away from Rays baseball from Philly, and we'll have the first pitch in a moment. Rays will be facing the right-hander David Buchanan. Rays starting the night at the 500 mark. 47-47. We'll take a look at the starting lineup for the Rays, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Grady Sizemore leads it off. He'll be in right, followed by Logan Forsythe, and then Evan Longoria. James Loney hits cleanup, plays first base. David DeJesus in left. Tim Beckham is at shortstop, hitting sixth, hitting in front of Kevin Kiermaier, then Kurt Casale. And in this National League Park, the pitcher in the lineup, Matt Moore, batting ninth.
Well, and they'll be going up against right-hander David Buchanan here for the Philadelphia Phillies, making his 7th start of the season. Started the season in the rotation, got off to a terrible start, 5 starts, 5 losses, was sent to the minor leagues. And like Dwayne, like you were talking about in the open, he came back. His last start, much better, 5 innings, did give up 8 hits, but just 1 earned run. And the Phillies look for continued improvement from David Buchanan.
Well, here's the first pitch of this game, presented by Pinch a Penny, and that's in there for a strike call. So we're underway. Temperature officially 92, but it's a lot warmer than that. Ground ball up the middle, and there's a base hit into center, and the Rays put their leadoff man on.
Well, Grady Sizemore using the middle of the field. David Buchanan not overpowering at all. Pitches to contact, has just 15 strikeouts in 29 2/3 innings. And there you go. He's trying to get the ball on the ground. A ground ball guy. Throws a little bit of a cutter, curveball, and changeup, but a lot of contact tonight. The Rays should have opportunities.
Logan Forsythe up in the second spot for the Rays. Pitch is down a bit. Scott Berry is calling the balls and strikes. And he'll make a pitcher throw a strike. He doesn't give away much in and around, and certainly not outside the zone.
Well, and you know, if that's the case, then that's going to work against David Buchanan, because he's a guy that's got to pitch around the fringes. That fastball, 87 to 89 miles an hour. And like I said, cutter, curveball, changeup, but out over the heart of the plate is not where he can live.
And there is ball 3. I remember a game in Berry's second year. He was behind the plate in the game between then the Devil Rays and the Yankees, and there were 15 bases on balls in that game. That's a strike, and it's now 3-1. Evan Longoria will be next. And ball 4 will set runners at first and second.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Philadelphia Philly defense as it lines up here tonight. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, we have Ben Revere, Odubel Herrera, and Jeff Francoeur. Across the infield, third to first, Maikel Franco, Freddie Galvis, Cesar Hernandez, and Darren Ruff, with Cameron Rupp behind the plate.
Evan Longoria in the box now. And the big cut, he's out in front and misses, strike 1.
Now, the one thing that Buchanan has to do, and that he tries to do, is mix his pitches, because he's not overpowering. He has to be unpredictable.
Into right field. Francoeur back now at the track making the catch. Sizemore will tag and advance to third, and the Rays will have it on the corners.
Well, here you go. This is your first opportunity. Runner on third, less than 2. This is an area where the Rays have really, really struggled. And if you come into a series like this where you expect to walk out winning some ball games, you got to get it done here.
Well, they might have the man up there to do it, and James Loney. His lifetime numbers in this ballpark are very good. You see 265 overall this year, but up around 370 in his career here in Philadelphia. So a big spot for the Rays early. Foul ball, strike 1. Let's take a look at the highest averages here at Citizens Bank Park. And Loney is third with that 370 mark.
James Loney, he prefers the extreme northeast. Tears it up here, hits very well up at Yankee Stadium. Big stages.
He pops it up, foul ball. Rupp, the catcher's after it, and he's going to make the catch. Room near the on-deck circle. And so Loney fouls out. The Rays coming into this game are hitting just .219 with men in scoring position. And with men in scoring position and 2 outs, only .183.
And that's a situation that you don't even need a hit. You know, you don't even need a hit. You could ground out to second base and score that run. Fly ball to center field, a sac fly. And that's all too often. Not only have they not hit well, like you just pointed out, with runners in scoring position, but even when they're conceding a run, the Rays have not been able to take advantage.
Here's David DeJesus. We'll see if he can pick up this situation. 1-0 the count. DeJesus at 266, 234 with men in scoring position. Back in at first, Forsythe.
Well, this is the type of at-bat where you envision David DeJesus, as Buchanan more than likely is going to be working him down and away to go ahead and shoot that ball into left field. He's got a nice hole there on the left side of the infield.
This one up and away. 2-0.
But when David DeJesus is going good at the plate, and we've seen him for stretches at different points this season, a lot of hits into left center field.
Upstairs, 3-0. Two pitchers in this game tonight concerned with command as much as anything. Buchanan and Moore.
Well,
3-1.
And the way that you've described Scott Berry, could be here a while.
Yes. It's Tim Beckham on deck. And that will be ball 4 to load the bases. So Tim Beckham will have a big opportunity here in the very first inning. Sizemore at third. Forsythe moves up to second. DeJesus takes over at first on the walk.
Well, and it sets up very well for Tim Beckham. You got a guy who's already walked 2 hitters. Cameron Rupp out there talking to him right now. So he's got to pitch out over the plate here. Can't afford to walk in another run or walk in a run by walking another batter. And so Tim Beckham should see a pitch or two here that's pretty good to hit. So I would have him ready to go swinging early. The stuff's not overpowering. You get one out over the heart of the plate. Take your chances.
Well, Beckham with the big opportunity. And he'll take the first pitch in for a strike.
That's exactly the way that he started off Evan Longoria in a big spot, a first pitch changeup.
Beckham had a double in the final game up in Toronto. He was 1 for 3. Buchanan was 6-8 last year, 0-5 this year. One and one, the breaking ball. Oh, that curveball. You can see the issues with Buchanan. He's still trying to find command of all of his pitches, actually.
And when you don't have command and your fastball sitting at 87 to 89, that's a bad combination. That's opposition with crooked numbers.
Cut and a miss. And he had a little late movement on that one.
Yep, that was the cutter. You know, he'll throw that sinker, has more run than anything else. But that cutter right here, 88 miles an hour, just slight down and away, taking it right off the edge of the swing of Tim Beckham.
They're loaded, 1-2 the count. And a cut and a miss. He came back with it and strikes out Beckham. Rays will leave him loaded. We go to the bottom of the first. No score. The Rays leaving the bases loaded in the top half. Lineup for the Phillies presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Cesar Hernandez leads it off. Then Ben Revere. Michael Franco is the third baseman hitting third. Jeff Rancourt in right. Darren Ruff at first. Freddie Galvis at shortstop. Odubel Herrera is in center. Cameron Rupp will catch, and David Buchanan, the pitcher, bats ninth.
Well, Matt Moore making his fourth start of the season. He picked up that first win in his last outing. That came against the Houston Astros. And he just looks to continue to build outing after outing. Arm strength and command of the fastball.
And the first pitch bunted foul, third base side. That's a strike. Cesar Hernandez at 276. Switch hitter.
And what you're going to see in this Philadelphia lineup, not a ton of power, very low on the scale as far as home runs go, but some good averages and some guys that can run. And you think about the two guys here at the top of the order in Hernandez and Revere, both of them can fly, stolen base threats.
It's a fastball around 92, foul back. Out of play, 1-2. Pete Buchanan, the interim manager here. Ryan Sandberg resigning as the manager. And so Buchanan, who had been the third base coach, has taken over on an interim basis. That was at the end of June when all of that occurred.
Yeah, interesting times here in Philadelphia with this ball club. Some of the contracts that they're stuck with right now. Lack of production, clearly a rebuilding phase that doesn't look like it's going to be sped along too quickly.
That's a foul ball up the right side. Well, they are 32 and 62 on the year.
Chase Utley on the disabled list.
And if he were to come back healthy, it's problematic as to whether he would play. I mean, they're in that situation where they have to look to the future and figure out their next move. Full count, 3-2. Hernandez, 25 years old. And Moore's 3-2 pitch. Lifted into center. And Kiermaier will back up. That ball drifts on him a bit, and he's there to make the catch.
Well, let's go ahead and set the Rays defense for you here tonight. Defense brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, we have DeJesus, Kiermaier, and Sizemore. And across that infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Tim Beckham, Logan Forsythe, and James Loney with Kurt Casale behind the plate.
Here's Ben Revere. He's hitting .299 and in the top 10 in the National League in total hits. There's a strike. Our big matchup since June the 3rd. He's been hitting .367 with 12 of his 22 stolen bases in that time frame.
Yeah, where this lineup lacks in power, like I said, they've got some guys that can run. Revere, the best of the group, and they can cause problems on the base paths.
It's a breaking ball that stayed up. Revere had 49 stolen bases last year when he finished 5th in the league in hitting at .306. Ground ball back to the hill, and Moore got that glove up there to take care of that, and the throw to first records the second out of the inning.
Yeah, you want to be able to cut that down as a pitcher anytime. Revere's speed, he's one of those guys that has learned, put the ball on the ground and try to beat it out. That chopper gets over Matt Moore's head, he's got a chance for an infield hit, but Matt Moore able to make that play.
Maikel Franco. And he is going about establishing himself as a big league hitter. 10 home runs. Pitch is a strike.
Well, that's one thing that a struggling team, what ends up happening is opportunities are created. And can guys seize the day? Franco, by the looks of those numbers, and you talk to people around Philadelphia here, he has certainly done that and is emerging.
Now the Phillies in a position where they're looking for young talent. The National League Rookie Player of the Month in June. He's only 22 years old, and he finished last year strong in the minor leagues at the AAA level. Over the last couple of months there, he had over .320 for their AAA club. And is swinging the bat well here. Misses that pitch, and it's 1-1.
And by the way, Matt Moore, very good changeup right there. The previous pitch was a fastball glove side where you really got to get good extension, and he got that fastball up to 94 miles an hour. So early on, the stuff is crisp.
Count remains 2-2. Coming back as he is, BA, the first thing he looks for would be command and then the velocity to follow.
I would think so. Yeah, I mean, command is what you really need first and foremost, and then that as he builds up arm strength, as he continues to accumulate innings, you'll start to see that velocity come up.
And a cut and a miss right there. Franco out on strikes, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Matt Moore. Breaking ball got him. Good one. and by Morgan Auto Group. Make it Morgan. We make it happen. Here's Kevin Kiermaier leading off the second. First pitch fouled up the right side, just outside the line and in front of Rocco Baldelli. Kurt Casale will follow, and then Matt Moore.
First two pitches here by David Buchanan, 86 and 88. Those are fastballs, and you could see both swings. Kiermaier, he's way out in front. You're gonna have to be patient and stay back with this guy because he doesn't have your normal, 90, 93 mile an hour fastball that you're so often used to seeing.
And so that's why you hope that one time through the lineup, when they all get a look at him, that the second time through might be different. Of course, the Rays had a great opportunity in the first. Left him loaded. This one hits the bag. Fair up the right field line, and Kiermaier's going to dig for two and will make it easily, picking up his 19th double. This one leads off the second.
Well, that was trouble for the Phillies. As soon as it hit first base, you knew that the way Kiermaier jumps out of the box that he was going to have a two-bagger. And that's exactly what happened. Good two-strike hitting there by Kiermaier. And watch this, right up the line and right there. Once it gets over the head, that's a two-bagger.
Now Kurt Casale. Nothing doing back there on that step back by Buchanan.
Well, the legs of Kevin Kiermaier, they will keep you alert.
Ground ball towards short. Galvis makes the play, and Kiermaier has to remain at second.
Another unproductive out. Kurt Casale right there trying to drive a run in. That's what you'd like to see him do, but if not, at least to have the opportunity to move Kevin Kiermaier up. But that ground ball out in front of Kevin, he's got to hang tight, and the Rays one out.
Well, you like a pitch when you get it. A veteran hitter might have worked the count a little bit more to try to move that guy over to third at least. And here's Matt Moore. He'll be trying to move him over, and bunts foul. The Rays pitchers this year collectively 0 for 13, and Moore in the big leagues 0 for 6, but he's trying to put the sacrifice bunt down right now.
I think the Rays are hoping for a sacrifice bunt, a wild pitch.
They would take both. 1-1. Already the Rays missing an opportunity with men in scoring position in the first. They're 0 for 4 already with runners in scoring position tonight. There's the bunt. Kiermaier goes to third easily, and the sacrifice is good. 5-4 on the sacrifice with Hernandez covering first. Well, there's the sacrifice. Now the Rays will take a wild pitch or a hit.
Anything to get this run in. That's the way the Rays feel right now. And you hope it's one of those situations that once you're able to do that, it's kind of like the floodgates open and you can start swinging free and easy because you know it's weighing on the minds of these hitters.
Sizemore takes the first pitch outside. Almost speed pitch right there.
And most of the work by Buchanan is going to be middle of the plate away. So you want to think exactly what Sizemore did his first at bat, that up the middle approach.
Off the plate in, and it's 2-0.
And that's a pitch that's designed to take advantage of that mindset. That's where he'll try to run the cutter in on the hands and get that little late movement to take that ball to the handle of the bat.
Now out in front, and the count is 2-1. So an effective changeup. Kiermaier opened with a double. He's at third with 2 outs. 3-1. Sizemore spending parts of last year and this year with the Phillies. He was with them early and released on the 1st of June. Rays signed him in the middle of June. Now it's 3-2.
Well, and now if I'm David Buchanan in this count after just throwing a nice fastball down and away, this is where I'm coming back with that changeup. You know, that's been a good pitch for him thus far. Good arm speed with it.
It's foul back.
And you don't have to be as fine with it 3-2. You want the hitter to swing at your arm speed. That's really what you're going for there. And so that was a nice job by Grady Sizemore to be able to foul that pitch off.
Full count pitch to be made again from Buchanan. Ball 4, and he gives up another walk. The Rays will have men at first and third. 2 first-inning walks, and now another one in the second. And it will be up to Logan Forsythe.
He just tried to make that pitch too nasty. You know, the changeup that he's been featuring has been good enough, but a lot of times a pitcher, whether it's the changeup, the slider, the curveball, they'll throw a good one and then feel like they've got to make it even better. And a lot of times that mindset leads to a pitch that's much worse. How about that? Not only is he 0-8, but the team is 1-14 in those 15 starts.
And there's a psychological component to that, not only for the pitcher Buchanan, but for the entire team.
You can feel it.
They've seen this movie before.
15 times. It's like a child.
It's 1-1.
It's like Frozen.
Yeah. You know the lines all too well.
15 times. I get it.
Well, the Rays trying to change their script and get a hit with a man in scoring position. Forsythe takes it too high.
Yeah,
2-1.
And that's one of those pitches where you're like, that's Scott Berry. You know, that right there is one of those pitches you just are used to seeing called a strike at the top of the zone. That's not going to be the way it goes here tonight.
Rays had the bases loaded in the first. They left them that way. First and third now, 2 outs in the second. And a 2-1 count to Logan Forsythe. He shoots it toward the gap. Into left center. That's going to bound to the wall. Kiermaier has scored. Sizemore's digging for the plate. He will make it. And the Rays lead 2-0 on a big double by Logan Forsythe.
Second time through the order. Can they sit back on David Buchanan? Well, guess what? Logan Forsythe stayed back very nicely on this delivery. And he was all over that pitch. Head down, hands back, everything working in unison. And he powdered that ball out into the gap. And the Rays get that big hit finally and a couple of runs.
For Forsythe, RBIs 37 and 38 with his 18th double. Evan Longoria takes a fastball for a strike.
This game right now has one of those feels that, do you feel it?
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Yeah. I've got stories. I've got bedbug stories.
We could be here
and they'll
for a
get
while.
brought out if this thing doesn't pick it up a little bit.
A lot of deep counts.
I see a whole section of people nodding off.
Ground ball toward the middle. Hernandez shaded over there with the shift. Makes the play. The second baseman handles that one. The Rays get 2 and lead 2-0. tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #SSDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. First pitch to Jeff Francoeur misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, Matt Moore had a 1-2-3 first, and as he pitches to Francoeur, that pitch went all the way to the backstop.
How about the look that we exchanged after the straight 3 on the curveball? That was the Matt Moore A+ curveball. And, we saw the fastball, we saw better velocity, we saw a really good curveball, saw him throw a nice changeup. I know it's early, but all positives.
All of that coming in the first inning. He got that breaking ball to get Franco, struck him out. It's fouled straight back, out of play. We go to 2-2. Well, if Matt Moore could establish what we saw in the first and extend that through this outing, what a major step forward that would be for him and for this pitching staff. Full count. He did make 18 pitches in that first inning, and he's, even before the Tommy John surgery, he could run the pitch count with the best of them. And he bounces this one to the backstop as he walks Francoeur.
And based on the velocity, you're thinking right there that may have been a full count changeup. And you're thinking, with a lead and trying to reestablish command of your heater, you want this pitch. Go ahead, throw a fastball. Throw a fastball outer half, a good firm fastball, instead of messing around with a full count changeup. And I think that's what Jim Hickey right there is thinking. Not only was it a changeup, but where was the cutoff man?
There's Darren Ruff, the first baseman. There's ball 1, a fastball. That fastball at 93, so we've seen 93, 94.
And that is more than workable for Matt Moore, provided he's getting it to the areas he wants it.
It's a foul ball. 1-1. Matt, 5 innings his last time out. He made 88 pitches. He's made at least 81 pitches in every outing. 81 the first time against Cleveland, 85 in Kansas City, and then 88 against Houston. It's 2-1 with Ruff.
And you get the feeling that Kevin Cash is kind of going to use Matt Moore right now like he'd been using Erasmo Ramirez and Nathan Carnes to get him in that 5+ inning range and then turn it over to the bullpen.
Right there's another pitch that was at 93, but not that bad a pitch. But it's a ball, and it's now 3-1.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough night for the pitchers because of the strike zone of Scott Berry. Nothing borderline is going to go your way. Look out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he lost part of that, but he saved the bigger part of the refreshment. There you go.
Knocked his tooth out.
But he still has his refreshment. You get a baseball, a refreshment, and all it cost you was a tooth. And that just missed. A fastball for ball 4. Back-to-back walks to open the bottom of the second.
And this is what, will drive a pitching coach crazy. This is what will drive Matt Moore crazy. You're staked to a lead. The Rays have been struggling to score runs. They give you a 2 spot in the top half of the inning, and you come right back with 2 straight walks.
Well, our Toyota trend through the first 3 starts of the season, he has had difficulty with those top 3 hitters and has pitched well the rest of the way through a lineup. Tonight, it was a 1-2-3 first against the top 3 hitters.
I guess that's how everything sort of averages itself out.
Freddie Galvis. One ball, no strikes. One ball, one strike. Well, we know that even before the Tommy John surgery, from time to time, it was a challenge for Matt Moore to put all the pieces together in sync. And he got some help there on the off-speed pitch.
The last 2 pitches, the fastball was down. That was below the zone, according to what we've seen from the strike zone. And then that changeup was up and off the plate. Now, we talked about already the 2 walks to start. This is a team that doesn't walk. They've got the fewest walks in the National League. And Freddie Galvis just continues to swing at balls.
You can tell he wants to swing. They walked coming into this game 211 times. And you can see the pitches he went for right there.
Which ones? He swung at 3 of them.
Yeah. Those last 2 way up and out of the zone. Another one that was out of the zone, and he fouled that one back.
I mean, if he's just not so aggressive right there, you see pitch 5, how high that was. I mean, he's walked. He's already walked. Maybe twice.
He's walked 17 times this year and has just refused to let Moore walk him in this at bat.
This is where Matt Moore can benefit.
Well, even Galvis not going to swing at that one. And it's 2-2.
Put it there again. Can he go 2 pitches in a row without swinging?
Three and 2. 3 consecutive full counts here to start this inning. Herrera is on deck. Moment of decision for Galvis and Moore here.
What will happen next?
Will he or will he not? And that time just to build the tension. He goes after ball 4 and lifts a fly ball into right for Sizemore, who makes the catch for the out.
You're being kind. That was like ball 7. But the Rays will take it.
Well, I'll tell you, the bases would have been loaded with nobody out.
Yeah.
Easily done in that at bat.
No doubt. And we saw how badly some of those pitches missed by Matt Moore, but he's able to benefit by Freddie Galvis having absolutely zero discipline up at the plate. And that's the one thing that you've got a chance with tonight because of this team just not willing to take a whole lot of walks. Maybe you can get them to swing at some of those fringe borderline pitches and benefit from it.
Here's Herrera, and now he bunts. Longoria with the throw to first, not in time. Herrera can run, as we saw right there. And the bases will be loaded.
Boy, the element of surprise, number 1. Number 2, the execution of the bunt was flawless. Herrera, there's Longoria charging, but look at him just deaden it far enough away from Evan Longoria that it forces him that extra step, which gives Herrera an extra step, and he turns it into a base hit.
Well, Herrera has spent a lot of time in the minor leagues trying to get to the big leagues, and he certainly, if that's any example of his bunting ability, has perfected that part of the craft. He led the Texas League in hitting last year. Played winter ball in Venezuela and led that league in hitting as well. And now the catcher, Cameron Rupp. Down and in.
And this is a big at-bat because with the pitcher on deck, and Matt Moore can retire Rupp. And then you got a chance to weasel out of this inning.
Upstairs with a fastball, and he's behind Rupp. 2 balls, no strikes. And a pop foul. Will it be playable? Because Sally's going to have room. And he makes the catch for the second out. Big, big out right there.
I mean, huge out. You get that pop up, it stays in. Casale's able to corral it, and all of a sudden now, a real good opportunity to get out of this inning. David Buchanan at the plate.
Well, here's David Buchanan. He is 1 for 7 with 3 strikeouts at the plate. Fastball taken for a strike. One and one.
He's lost the feel for that curveball. The one that we saw to close out.
Yeah, where
the
is that?
I don't know.
That was a beauty.
That was as good as you could throw it.
In the dirt. Runner's going to try to score. Safe. And the others move up to second and third. Francoeur coming down the line. He was all tangled up with Moore. And they had a chance to get him. But the wild pitch allows the Phillies to get on the board.
Jeff Francoeur, 11-year veteran. He understands chances of David Buchanan getting a hit, probably not very good. So anything in the dirt that gets away, I'm going. Aggressive secondary lead, and it leads to this ball in the dirt. And Matt Moore, how about Matt Moore attacking David Buchanan with back-to-back curveballs?
I mean, look at this.
That left hand right to the bag, and they did have an opportunity, but Matt Moore could not corral that.
And now Moore is behind the opposing pitcher, 3-1.
And when you go after the opposing pitcher with back-to-back curveballs, you wonder about the confidence that you have in your fastball right now.
And he walks him. 3 walks and a bunt single and a wild pitch in the inning. And now it's a 2-1 ball game, and Jim Hickey will head to the mound to see if he can help get Moore back in sync.
And Jim Hickey usually out to the mound rather quickly. Right now taking his time thinking, what in the world am I going to say here? He always does a great job of staying positive, but he's got to find a quick fix for Matt Moore right now, because obviously Matt has not been able to make that adjustment yet himself.
Well, he's made 29 pitches, and that's another reason to get out there.
Well, especially on a day like today, suffocating heat.
Tonight's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world in Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, and the Middle East. We say welcome and we salute you all. Here's the top of the order, Cesar Hernandez. And he lines it into left on a first pitch fastball. Gonna go to the wall. Ruff scores. Herrera's gonna score. Buchanan to third on the double by Hernandez. 3-2 Philadelphia. Well, Hernandez was up there looking for one thing, the fastball.
The guy's been struggling with his command, and Hernandez is saying, listen, he's got to get ahead of me. He's going to come with the heater. I'm going to sit on it. If it's out over the plate, I'm going to take a rip. It's exactly what he does. That ball's out over the heart, and he just rifles it into left field, gets it to the wall, and the Phillies jump out in front.
Now it's Ben Revere. And he drops a breaking ball into him for a strike.
Just trying to find something here that will work. You get out of this inning, limit the damage from here, and try to regroup. The way that this game looks, you watch the two pitchers here, Matt Moore struggling with his command, same thing with David Buchanan. These offenses are going to have opportunities. So this could go back and forth all night.
Ball, 2 strikes. Well, you see Revere's approach. You know, they say, well, you have a timing mechanism. You got to get something to get it started. I mean, that is some move in his approach to hitting to get the whole thing started.
A lot of,
two.
And you probably would, like, if you're a hitting coach teaching a hit, you want to see less movement.
Yep.
I don't want all those parts moving down, going into a crouch, and then you're trying to hit something that's moving, 92 miles an hour, up and in, down and away, right here. But you also, it's hard to argue with his results because he was at the top of the league last year in hits.
Yep.
He's right up there again this year.
So if you're the hitting coach, you just leave him alone.
Yeah, well, that's like some of these pitchers. You watch them mechanically. You're like, well, you could never, ever teach a guy to throw like that, but doggone it, it works for you, so do your thing.
Fly ball center field. Kiermaier will be there in to make the catch. A 36-pitch inning for Moore, and it's 3-2 Phillies. The way are back at Tropicana Field. Bulls unite Saturday for USF night. Got a USF Rays tumbler with this ticket package. And we'll chop at the Trop with our Seminole fans Sunday when those who purchase this special package get a garnet and gold Rays hat. Visit raysbaseball.com/special events. On to the third with James Loney leading off. And somehow it's still just a one-run ball game. The pitch to Loney is upstairs. Loney, DeJesus, and Beckham due up. Liner into right. That will stay up for Francoeur. So Loney lines out to begin the third.
Well, you get the feeling that both offenses are going to have opportunities. So important for these Rays hitters to lock it in each and every at-bat, work David Buchanan over, and just try to continue to create base runners and opportunities.
You know, here's the thing that concerns you coming out of that second inning. As we mentioned going to break, Moore made 36 pitches. And they break down 17 strikes and 19 balls. But of those 17 strikes, 6 were clearly out of the zone, which means he probably threw 11 strikes out of 36 pitches in that inning.
Right now, Freddie Galvis is your MVP.
Well, he's going to be the post-game interview. This one popped up. Franco is there. DeJesus is out, popping to the third baseman. But that's the concern right now as Matt tries to work his way back from Tommy John surgery, this being his 4th start for the Rays. And when you run into a stretch like that, it's something that has to be a concern.
There's no question about it. And in just tonight's game, in a snapshot of tonight, be thankful that it's happening against the Philadelphia Philly offense, which, by the way, has scored 3 runs. But you think about it, you know, an outing like that so far with like the Blue Jays, how ugly things could be. And that's going to be, you know, that's why we highlight that every time we talk about Matt Moore's next start. You know, the velocity now, you could probably put that to bed. I mean, we've seen it 92, 94 in this ball game, which is plenty good. Now you start looking for the command. Can he get the ball where he needs to? And so far the answer has been not enough. I mean, not enough in the first 3 starts, and definitely not here tonight. And if you can't do that at the big league level, it makes for some frustrating battles, short outings, results that are not good.
Now 1-2 on Beckham.
But it's a process. I mean, he just has not pitched a whole lot in the last year and a half. And it wasn't like he was a strike-throwing machine before anyway.
And a lot going on in between innings there with Jim Hickey and Matt Moore trying to make some corrections on the fly. Beckham into right field. Francoeur is there for this one. And it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Buchanan. He made just 8 pitches. 3-2 Philadelphia.
Half of the third inning. Steven Souza Jr. is back in Philly after a quick rehab assignment in the minor leagues. Went 1 for 6. Guys, everything feels good. That pinky is fully healed. Took a little batting practice today, some cuts in the cage, and he says he is ready to go. Whether the Rays activate him tomorrow, which he's eligible to come off the DL tomorrow, or they wait till Wednesday against the left-handed starter for the Phillies, remains to be seen, but Souza could go as early as tomorrow, so it won't be long now, guys.
And it'll be a welcome bat with that power to return to this lineup. Well, the Phillies are right back up here in the bottom of the third. And their third baseman, Michael Franco. Franco struck out his first time. Goes after the 1-0 pitch, fouling that one out of play. He was up there when Moore threw that great curveball. We've seen a couple pretty good curveballs from him, and that one was about as perfect as you can be.
You try to log away in your mind, what did I feel when that pitch came off my fingers?
This one lined into left. One hops the wall. He's going to turn and dig for two, and the throw, they're going to get him. He runs into the out, standing up at second base.
You just take advantage there of poor base running. It's one thing to be aggressive. It's another thing to be reckless. His ball got to the wall so quickly that DeJesus just turns and fires it in. Tim Beckham with a little fake like he's going to cut it. Lets it one hop to Forsythe, and Franco, realizing a slide's not even worth it, just kind of gave himself up there. Seen some interesting things in this ball game already.
Look at all that's happened. We're only in the bottom of the third, so stay tuned, folks. A lot more to come. Franco fouls this one, strike one.
You know, I was a little bit annoyed at the beginning of the game, but I'm getting excited.
Now you're sort of intrigued. What could possibly happen next? And he has him out in front with a changeup right there. 0-2. So a nice pitch there. Here's the other thing. The Rays were out 1-2-3 on 8 pitches in the top of the third. Line drive, and there's a base hit into center. And so Matt Moore, after that 36-pitch second inning, 8 pitches, and he's right back out there again.
Yeah, that absolutely is a concern. You talked about the heat index here today, how hot it was, how muggy. That's a lot of pitches no matter what. But given the conditions and how quickly that Buchanan was able to get through his half, no wonder that Alex Colomé already up in the bullpen.
Yeah, it was 92 when we started this game, feeling like 97. Ground ball shortstop by Ruff. Beckham, Forsythe 1, first base 2, 6-4-3. A quick double play ends the third. 3-2 Philadelphia. Is down by a run. Last chance to get your 2015 Rays Flex Pack. Select any 3, 6, or 9 games and get 50% off parking and choose from one of 8 great gifts with your purchase. Save up to 50% with packs starting at just $59. Act now. Sales end July 28th. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Kevin Kiermaier leading off the fourth, showing the bunt, and he missed it. That's a strike. And foul ball runs the count to 0-2. Kiermaier got behind 1-2 and then doubled up the right side when he hit the bag at first base. Out of play the other way. Still 2 strikes the count. Rays facing David Buchanan, 26-year-old right-hander. He's out of Georgia State. Into left, Revere is there, and he makes the catch. This has been a good park to hit in Philadelphia. And when you break down the home run rate here over the last few years, actually since it opened, but the last few years, and it will rank in the National League anyway, always in the top 5 in home runs. Cincinnati, of course, very cozy over there.
Yes, it is.
Well, a strike to Casale.
The Philly pitching staff, they've given up the most home runs in Major League Baseball. Often you don't see that with National League teams because of the pitcher in the lineup, but they certainly lead the way.
1-1. We've got a 1-run game going here. A 2-1 count to Curt Casale. Casale hit a big home run in the Blue Jays series in the 8th inning of Saturday's game. That turned out to be the difference in the game the Rays won up there. A look at that home run from Curt Casale.
Boy, it was a hanging breaking ball, and he got all of it. That was a game that the Rays actually had fallen behind 2-1. The 2 big home runs from Brandon Guyer and then Casale. And thank goodness that they came through, because that would be the only game that the Rays would win north of the border.
Well, Buchanan out here, as we saw in the first, he really struggled in the first inning, again in the second, but he's made 16, now 17 strikes in his last 21 pitches. And he strikes out Casale. 2 up, 2 down in the 4th in the game tonight and all season. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Down and in to Matt Moore. At the knees for a strike. Two outs, bases empty. Rays pitching still looking for its first hit. The Rays in interleague play 6-3. They were 1-1 with Atlanta. They won 2 out of 3 from the Marlins and 3 out of 4 from Washington. It's just a little bit of that one, a foul ball. So the count is still 1-2. There's the breakout for the Rays. They're averaging 5 runs a game against their National League opponents. Another foul ball. Well, the Rays pitching, the last hit they had was a double by Alex Cobb last July 23rd. That was in St. Louis. And down on the count, Moore has fouled off a couple pitches, just making enough contact to stay alive, and there's a foul ball out of play to the third base side. And he takes this one a little low. 2-2.
Man, Matt Moore putting up a little bit of a battle here.
Showing a good eye taking that pitch.
Trying to help yourself.
And he fouls it again. Well, he's forcing Buchanan to make a few pitches. Buchanan had an 8-pitch third inning and used just 10 pitches to get the first 2 outs here in the 4th. And this will be the 9th pitch of this at bat to Matt Moore. And he hits it on the ground to Hernandez at second. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. 19 pitches by Buchanan. 3-2 Phillies. Here is the Geico great moment in Rays history. October 22nd, 2008, when Carl Crawford belted a solo homer in the bottom of the 4th inning, coming off the lefty Cole Hamels, giving the Rays their first World Series run in team history. The Phillies held on to win that one 3-2 before 40,783 at the Trop in the opening game of the World Series. And back to the mound goes Matt Moore. Matt with 61 pitches. How about comparing the 2nd and 3rd innings? Both were 2-hit innings. 36 pitches and 2 hits allowed in the 2nd inning, and 2 hits allowed, 7 pitches in the 3rd. And he got Galvez, here's a newsflash, to swing at the first pitch and miss it, strike 1. It's popped up foul. Loney digging hard for it, and that is going to be caught as he went into the railing in front of the Philly dugout.
Well,
that was a significant impact right there.
It was, and he made the impact before he actually corralled the baseball. So you're thinking that once he hits that, That's going to jar the body and the glove. See him hit, but he still is able to flip that glove over and make what ends up being a very difficult catch. And it tried to roll out the edge.
One gone. Here's Herrera, the center fielder. He bunted his first time and shows the bunt this time, only to take the pitch for a ball. Herrera's made the transition to the outfield, and they've been very pleased with how that's gone so far.
Well, these are the things that you need to find out as you're building your club for the future. Who's part of the next generation of Phillies and who's not. And so you have a feeling a guy can, make a position change. This is the time to find out. You're 30 games under 500.
Popped up. Casale away with the mask. So 2 up and 2 down here in the 4th. Yeah, they have some decisions to make on young players. A lot of talk about Hamels. We just saw the highlight there. One of those moments when Carl Crawford hit the home run off him. A lot of talk about where he may wind up. Jonathan Papelbon, their closer, came here thinking they were going to be in contention and he'd be saving games in the postseason. That has not worked out. He's ready to leave.
Oh, and Cole Hamels not doing himself a whole lot of favors. His last 2 outings have been disastrous, including yesterday's outing. Staked to a big lead against the Marlins, immediately gave it up. Turned out to be a walk-off win for the Phillies, but Cole Hamels not showing well his last couple of times out as teams look for that help. I mean, we're down to 11 days before the deadline.
See 5 runs on 8 hits in 3 innings. Phillies coming off a sweep of the Marlins. 2-1. Now 3-1. Rupp, pretty good sized catcher, 26 years old, out of the University of Texas. His father pitched 3 years in the minor league system with the Montreal Expos. He's after the pitch up there and misses. It's 3-2.
Yeah, and he was a little bit late on that fastball by Matt Moore at 91. I would attack him with that pitch again.
Fly ball center field, straight away. Kiermaier there just on the track making the catch. 1-2-3, the Phillies out in order. We're headed into the 5th, 3-2.
2008 American League champion Rays reflects back on the 2008 World Series.
You know, we came here, we didn't play as well as we were hoping to play, and then the season was over, obviously, after that. But, you know, coming in, that whole 6-week period of my life was, for me, the memories were pretty awesome, and probably my favorite memories on any, you know, playing any sports at any times in my life came at that time. It just so happens that the tough part of it happened in, you know, in this building.
Guys, that was quite a season for Rocco. Joined the team in August, battled back from illness, won the Tony Conigliaro Award after the season, and contributed both in the ALCS and with that home run in Game 5 here in Philadelphia.
On to the 5th inning we go with Grady Sizemore, top of the order, leading off. So this will be the 3rd trip through the order for David Buchanan. Rays had a big threat in the 1st, did not score. They plated 2 runs in the 2nd. That went down in front of Rocco Baldelli, a foul ball and a souvenir. Sizemore has been on twice. He has singled and walked. Base hit again, the other way this time, through the left side. Sizemore had hit a cold streak, but boy, tonight on for the 3rd consecutive time. Leads off the 5th with a single.
Well, being a veteran hitter, he has the right approach against David Buchanan. We talked about the fact that most of the time you're going to see pitches middle of the plate away, so you start thinking up the middle the other way. Well, where have his 2 hits gone? First one up the middle, that one obviously the other way.
There's Logan Forsythe. He takes a strike. Logan has walked and doubled. He doubled in both runs for the Rays in the 2nd inning. Ground ball back to the hill. Out at 2nd and out at 1st. The double play erases the leadoff single.
And I thought there for a split second that David Buchanan, in waiting for one of his middle infielders to get to second base, took too long to get rid of that ball, because Logan Forsythe is going to be busting it out of the box. But he's kind of waiting and then just kind of lazily throws that ball. And boy, that becomes close down there at first base. Forsythe almost able to beat that out.
Here's Heaven. There's a strike. Longoria is 0 for 2. Hernandez on the shortstop side of 2nd. Heaven hit the ball directly to him back in the 2nd inning. To the second baseman, Cesar Hernandez, then Freddie Galvis, and Franco, the 3rd baseman. Lifted into center. Herrera makes the catch. And the Rays are out of the 5th. 3-2 Philadelphia. Fifth, 3-2 Phillies lead the Rays. Coming up Saturday, Casey Musgraves performs a free concert on the field after the Rays take on the Baltimore Orioles. She'll perform Biscuits and Follow Your Arrow and more. For more information and to purchase on-field wristbands, visit RaysBaseball.com/concerts or call 888-FAN-RAYS. Rays up. David Buchanan takes a strike. He walked his first time. Now it's 1-1. Before he walked, Moore threw a wild pitch that allowed Jeff Rancourt to score. There's a strike, and after the Buchanan walk, Cesar Hernandez doubled, chasing home 2. That made it 3-2, and that's where we stand in the fifth. A wave and a miss. Buchanan is the first out in the fifth.
And that wild pitch came on the second of back-to-back perplexing curveballs to Buchanan in that at-bat. That's been a pitch. We've seen a couple of good ones. We've seen some not so good, but you got the pitcher up there in that situation, and shying away from the fastball cost him a wild pitch and then eventually a walk and a couple more runs.
There's a strike. Hernandez shortening on the bat. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Toward the corner and right. That's a fair ball, bounding away from Sizemore. That's going to give Hernandez a chance for 3, and he will make it.
Now that little bounding away from Grady Sizemore cost the Rays 90 precious feet. This ball shot the other way by Hernandez. It's going to short hop the wall out there in right field. Did a nice job of staying inside that pitch. And then watch this as it ricochets away. Sizemore's got to track it down. And then Hernandez able to get over to third. Significant because there's less than 2 outs.
There's some padding out there on the wall before it gets into the scoreboard portion of the wall. And I think it hit an angle there.
It did.
That kicked that ball away from Sizemore.
Yeah, this line right here, there's that little fence over the top of that advertisement. And you're right, there's just a little bit of padding that it kicked off of. And that's what caused it. There you go. You're going to see it right there. A little indentation. Doesn't come right off to Sizemore. And that stroke of luck for the Phillies got them another run. No.
And this one is fouled by Revere. Well, Revere loves to swing the bat. 102 hits, 6th in the National League in total hits. He's up there trying to get Hernandez home. Infield is up for the Rays. Oh, 2 and a nice pitch there.
Well,
and we've seen Moore
yep.
make some good pitches and then really struggle to come back and make almost any kind of pitch at all. And then you've got one of these.
Well, that's a perfectly placed curveball, especially when you're ahead in the count. He takes that down and off the plate. Well, you could use the strikeout here. This is when you go for it.
And he got it. Strike 3 call. He just got a very tough hitter there. Got him looking.
And that may end his night. Fastball down and away right at the knees. That's a perfect pitch. And Kevin Cash is on his way to the mound.
So it's 4 2/3 for Moore as he departs with a man at third. Back in a moment. Matt Moore finished after 4 2/3.
I say maybe you save your best for last, and that's what Matt Moore did in this at-bat here with Ben Revere. He needs the strikeout, gets a foul ball on strike one, comes back with a tremendous curveball for strike two, and then how about painting the corner? Boom, right there, down and away. He does get the strikeout, but that would cost him his outing, but nice way to finish.
83 pitches for Moore tonight in his fourth start back. And Alex Colomé will be making his fourth relief appearance.
And he's been getting and looking better and better coming out of the bullpen. Engaged, the stuff has been good, the command has been better. And he's facing an important hitter here in Franco, a very good hitter, and the Rays need this last out.
Franco has struck out, and then he lined a base hit into left in the third and was out easily, trying to stretch it into a double. Now he bats with Hernandez at third and 2 gone, and Colomé in the game. One ball, no strikes. Colomé pitched Friday in Toronto. Pitched an inning in 2/3. Picked up a strikeout. Two and one. So for Matt Moore, this 4 2/3 outing, Matt did get 5 innings against Houston and in his last outing. So he's gone 4 2/3, 4 1/3, 5, and now 4 2/3. Into left, DeJesus back, and that's going to be high off the wall. A long single. Hernandez scores to make it 4 2. Franco driving in his 35th run. He didn't miss getting that one to go out of here by very much.
A hanging breaking ball, and he got underneath it. And boy, his last 2 shots into left field have been absolute missiles. This one right off the top of the wall back into the glove of DeJesus. That's going to hold him to first base, but it does plate another run for Philly.
So 4 runs tonight in 4 2/3 allowed by Moore. Francoeur takes a fastball upstairs. Pop to the right side. Loney stalking it into foul territory, and he cannot make the play. He got down there and found himself under it more than he needed to be. Came back just a little too much for Loney to handle.
No, he put himself in a bad position right here. Now this ball is behind him. He's trying to get gauge of it and just cannot come up with it. This is a play that we see James Loney make time and time and time again. One of the best there are with the gloves. But he just missed that one.
And it gives Francoeur another chance. It's fouled straight back out of play. And they're going to charge Loney with an error on that play, because it is a play that he makes routinely. That's his second error of the year. Two and two. Colomé thought he might have had part of the plate with that fastball, but not so, says Scott Berry.
It still can serve a purpose, though. You know, you make a guy aware of a pitch in, even though it's a little bit off. But here's where you've got to make something happen. Don't want to go full.
That's a fair ball. Longoria comes up with it and then makes the throw to first. It gets away from Loney. Down to third base goes Franco, and boy, things are getting a little loose defensively for the Rays here in the fifth inning.
Well, like we said earlier, this game had a weird feel from pitch number one. You stick around, see what you're going to see. You see here, this ball up the line, Evan Longoria off the glove, but right into the bare hand. Maybe you got a chance. You can see the throw's going to be wide now, but James Loney takes his eyes off of it, and he just misses it. Another error for James Loney.
I mean, how about that? He made one error all year, and within literally seconds has made two errors in this inning, and all involving Jeff Francoeur. There's Darren Ruff. And there's a base hit into right. Franco's going to score. Francoeur hustles to third. Now they have Ruff hung up. Now runner's going to try to score, and Francoeur is out at the plate as he tried to bowl Casale over, and Casale held on to that baseball to prevent Francoeur from scoring. It's quite a collision at the plate. The inning is over, but the Phillies add to their lead. There is the Casale-Francoeur collision. That goes 9-6, 3-2. And they may want to take a look at that play at the plate. Pete Mackanin, the interim manager of the Phillies, out on the top step.
I'll see where Kurt Casale was set up on that play. Obviously, you had a pretty good collision there at home plate. And you'd have to see exactly where the setup is. The throw obviously took him right into the line as James Loney peels off to make that throw. And he's kind of positioned himself there right in front of home plate. This will be an interesting call to be made, because he is right there in front of home plate. And Francoeur has no choice but to go in and go in hard.
So the initial call is out at the plate. All of that has made it a 5-2 game here at Citizens Bank Park. They put up the additional run already. So they're going to review this play at the plate. Scott Berry and Ted Barrett donning the headsets.
Well, what you're looking for is, did he give Francoeur a lane? Did he give him a lane? It's a pretty quick call here, so we'll find out.
And the out will prevail. So the play goes 9-6-3-2 after the base hit by Ruff. So it's a 5-2 game through 5. It is a 6-2 ball game. The Rays open their scoring. Logan Forsythe doubled in 2 runs in the second inning, but the Phillies came right back, taking advantage of wildness by Matt Moore and put up 3 runs in the second. Cesar Hernandez doubled in the second and third runs of that inning. Couple more runs in the bottom of the 5th, and it's 5-2. Casale and Francoeur in that collision for the 3rd out in the bottom of the 5th. James Loney lofts a pop to the left side, and it's caught by Franco. So Loney's 0 for 3 in the 1st out here in the 6th.
Well, David Buchanan, after a rough beginning of this game, has really settled in, pitching efficiently. He's pitched well with the lead, obviously allowing his offense to throw a couple of tack-on runs.
Here's David DeJesus in a 5-2 game. Strike. Well, Sizemore and Forsythe at the top of the order have had 6 plate appearances. They've been on 5 times. Hitters 3 through 9 are 1 for 14 collectively. One and one the count.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, but hitters 3 through 9 would constitute a majority of your lineup.
It would.
Well, then that's not too good.
It's not too good to this point. The only hit was Kiermaier's double, and he scored a run driven home by Forsythe, the number 2 hitter. It's 2-2. That takes care of DeJesus.
You know, he's showing a changeup that is eerily similar to Marco Estrada's, and the Rays have now struggled with that pitch for 2 starts. You see that not a ton of movement, a little downward action, but enough off of the fastball that it's so difficult for these hitters to stay back on, and we've seen that a number of times in this ballgame.
Tim Beckham is 0 for 2. The first pitch is inside. Well, since the Rays scored their 2 runs on the double by Forsythe in the second inning, they have only 1 hit. That was the base hit by Sizemore, and he was promptly erased on a double play. Sharply hit to third. Franco up with it, and he fires to first to retire Beckham. 3 up, 3 down go the Rays. Bottom half of inning 6 coming. Phillies lead this game 5-2. Tonight's high def highlight presented by H.H. Gregg. Beckham making a bid to get it through the left side, denied by Maikel Franco, who made a nice stop and an accurate throw.
What was more impressive, the stop or the arm strength? That doesn't do it justice in slow motion, but Franco jumped up, spun, and absolute bullet to first base.
Galvis takes a pitch, and it's a ball inside. Freddie Galvis leading off the bottom of the 6th. Foul ball, 1-1. Galvis came into the game hitting .273, but over .340 against left-handed pitching. He was 0 for 2 against Moore and now faces Colomé. Two and one. Three balls and a strike. Colomé came on in the 5th inning and gave up 3 hits. didn't retire a hitter, but got credit for a third of an inning. And now he has walked Galvis.
And we know how difficult that can be.
It was impossible earlier in the game. But here he is walking to lead off the bottom of the sixth.
This game gets more strange and more strange as it continues on. James Loney with 2 errors. When do you ever see that?
Yeah, within seconds to the same hitter. Here's Herrera.
Boy, watch for the bunt here.
And he puts it down. Well, he bunted his way on in the second. He showed the bunt the last time up, and he tries to put down a bunt in the 6th inning.
Well, he's set up perfectly. He's got that I can't lose type of situation. You know, he lays the bunt down and Evan makes a play and throws him out. Well, it's a sacrifice. You move the guy up to second base. If he's able to do it as well as he did the first time up, got another hit.
Galvis back in, standing up at first. The Rays and the Phillies meeting in the regular season for the first time since 2012. Phillies have the lead right now. Back toward the middle. Beckham goes back to the bag for the first out and makes the throw to first to complete the double play. And a nice little play by Beckham, who had to change his direction to get back to the bag.
Yeah, overran second base to get to the ball. Now you've got to show some agility to get back to the bag and make an athletic throw to first. Let's go over the head of Colomé. And at that point, Colomé watches the double play get turned. Now here it is. Overrun, touch, avoid, and throw. Half a step.
Base is empty, and here's the catcher, Cameron Rupp. Checked in time. The ball, no strikes. Toward the right field line, Sizemore over there, and it's going to be into the stands where it juts out toward the line. 1-1. Cut the miss. It's 1-2. Two and two. Rays down by 3. They played 4 regular season games here in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. Swing and a miss. So Rupp is out on strikes. We're headed into the 7th, 5-2 Philadelphia. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. By Checkers. Mix and match our famous Big Buford and Big Chicken Deluxe. And by Pixels. In theaters July 24th. That might just make you hungry right there. Philly cheese steak here at Citizens Bank Park. In the 7th, the Rays will have Kevin Kiermaier to lead it off. Rays hungry for some runs. They're down by 3. Kiermaier takes a big rip and fouls it back. Strike one.
And ultimately, runs are better for you than that sandwich.
Right now, they would be more satisfying.
Yes.
If the Rays could put something together. Well, there's a liner into center, and that's going to be in there. Gets by Herrera. Kiermaier's going to get a chance to do some running here. All the way to third, standing up with a triple.
You talked earlier, Dwayne, about Odubel Herrera learning a new position out in center field. That is where you've got to be smarter. You're not going to get to this ball, so you angle yourself to try to keep it to a double and play yourself in front of it. Instead, he sells out for the play, had no chance to make it, and that gives the Rays a leadoff triple and just about guarantees them a run. Just about.
10th triple of the year for Kiermaier. Rays had some great opportunities early in the first couple innings, and now Casale bounces this one foul. Rays got their 2 runs in the second after leaving the bases loaded in the first, and they left a man in scoring position in the second. This is the first time they've had anybody in scoring position since then.
Well, and it's just a 3-run game, and that's why you see this Phillies bullpen all of a sudden jump to life. But the Rays have to cash in here, and you'd like to have it be more than one. Keep that pressure on.
Check swing and a bounder foul. 1-2.
Well, when he's gone into trouble or has needed to make a big pitch, he's gone to that changeup, and it's been good here tonight.
Kiermaier at third. Up the right side foul. That was the fastball, fouled out of play. Holds the count at a ball and 2 strikes. Might expect something off speed here.
Yeah, I would certainly think so, especially after coming in with the fastball and forcing a hitter to speed his swing up. Speed him up to then slow him back down. We'll see if that's what he does. They're going to come right back in with something. Ooh.
And boy, that was close.
Yes,
Buchanan thought he had the zone, and Scott Berry said no.
Could have said yes.
And it's a Berry strike zone tonight. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Buchanan gets a big strikeout.
Well, Kurt Casale looking to get that run in, and 91 miles an hour, and nothing special about that pitch. I mean, it is right out over the plate, belt high, and Kurt just swings through it.
Now Brandon Geyer will pinch hit for Colomé. So Colomé pitches an inning and a third. Geyer has been announced. It's Bob McClure, the pitching coach, making his trip to the mound.
Well, you got the new hitter coming up here, so he's out there giving some wisdom to Buchanan about Geyer.
And as promised earlier in the game, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag SS Data Strong Fan. for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, here's Brandon Guyer now to hit against the right-hander David Buchanan. As we mentioned earlier in the evening, Guyer belted a home run in Saturday's game when the Rays beat the Blue Jays 3-2. Pinch hitting tonight. Loses his bat and misses the pitch.
And those don't feel very good when you take a healthy cut like Brandon Guyer did and that bat comes loose of the hands. And David Buchanan here in another big spot. How does he start out Brandon Guyer, the pinch hitter? Changeup, changeup. That's been his pitch. It's set up other pitches. Sometimes it's done the work itself.
So the count's a ball and a strike. Down the right side, toward the corner, and back into the corner, foul. A long foul ball to the opposite side there. Man at third with one out.
And 2 strikes on Brandon Guyer. And this is where David Buchanan, he's coming down towards the end of his outing anyway. Needs a strikeout, has put himself in position to get it. He doesn't get many, but he got a big one with Casale, and he'll go for one here.
95 pitches on the night. And a good job by Guyer fouling that pitch away, extending the at-bat.
No doubt about it. That pitch, you could see where Cameron Rupp was set up, and he wanted that pitch down, right at the, below the kneecaps on the outside corner or just off, and the pitch was there, but Brandon spoiled it.
He takes this one low. It's 2-2. That's a liner into center, will fall for a base hit. It will get Kiermaier home from third, and that makes it 5-3. And a good pinch hitting job right there by Brandon Guyer to keep the at bat going, and then sending an RBI single into center to get the run home. And that's going to be it for David Buchanan, who pitches 6 1/3. And Guyer, a nice job of driving in the run.
Yeah, he just stayed back and was looking to put the ball in play, knowing that more than likely would lead to a run. That was a ball down and off the plate, and he's able to soft serve it into center field.
So pitching change coming back in a moment. David Buchanan made 98 pitches, leaves after 6 1/3.
Well, it was a shaky beginning for David Buchanan. The Rays were able to jump early with a couple of runs and had some good opportunities, but then that would start to dry up because he got comfortable with all of his pitches, got better with his location, and was able to pretty much have his way with this Rays lineup here until the 7th inning. They were able to strike, finally knock him out of the game, but into the 7th, and 3 earned runs so far. Runner hanging out there at first base is his responsibility.
Hard throwing left-hander Jake Diekman in the game now for the Phillies. And Joey Butler's going to hit in the place of Grady Sizemore. First pitch is outside, and when you step in there against this guy, you'd better be ready to get it started quickly.
Well, this is the one thing. That big arm will lead to some strikeouts, no doubt about it, but also some walks. So he can be erratic with his location.
Diekman had 100 strikeouts in 71 innings last year. And the fastball foul to the opposite side, out of play. 1-1.
Well, like you said, tall and lanky and able to create leverage and arm whip, and that translates into hand speed and velocity.
Up the right side again, foul, back of first. Butler checking the bat. Wants to make sure he's got a solid one.
He flipped that bat around and tapped that handle on the ground, and you could hear the cracking sound up here.
So he's down a ball, 2 strikes, Butler. With new bat in hand, he heads back to the plate. One, 2 is upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Butler misses that one. He does have a slider, and after seeing 97, 96, here's the slider.
Well, and that's what hitters do. You know that you know that you've got to protect against that high octane fastball, so you got to be ready to go early. And then all of a sudden, Diekman comes slider down and in. Initial reaction is swing, but that ball never quite gets there.
And now another pitching change with Logan Forsythe due up. by Patrick's Tavern, proudly serving Rays fans for 18 years. By Kubota. For more information, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Rays have made it a 2-run game. They have Geyer at first, 2 outs. And Luis Garcia, a hard-throwing right-hander, enters the game to pitch to Logan Forsythe. Fastball high, 1-0. Well, another guy, this time from the right side, with the fastball in the mid-90s, is a fastball guy with an occasional slider. There's a strike, 1-1.
And the first 2 that we've seen here, a little bit more side-to-side movement. A running fastball in the mid-90s. Well, you got to pitch tough here because of the way that the ball carries, an intimate setting.
Foul ball runs it to 1-2. Pitch in on Forsythe. Logan walked in the first. He doubled in 2 of the Rays' runs in the second inning. Now down a ball, 2 strikes. There goes Geyer. Pitch is down. Throw not going to be in time. And a nice job by Geyer to steal his way into scoring position.
Well, very deliberate on the way to the plate is Garcia, and that allows Brandon Geyer with a huge jump and a very easy stolen base. And now just a little bloop, and the Rays can plate another.
Foul ball.
How about that? You start off 93, 94 with a little bit of movement. You go to 95 and then just jump up on 98.
It's Jake McGee. Cedeno had been up. We're in the 7th. Well, both lefties apparently sufficiently hot down there in the Rays bullpen, depending on the situation.
Well, you're thinking Cedeno if the score stays the same. If the Rays were able to plate a couple of runs, obviously that's why McGee's up now.
Garcia, the 3rd pitcher of the night, 3rd of the inning.
And what in the world is he worrying about Brandon Geyer for? You got a 2-2 count on the hitter with two outs.
Geyer heads to 3rd, a swing and a miss. He threw him a slider, and after that 96 to 98 stuff, the slider takes care of the Rays. They get a run, down by 2. Phillies lead the Rays. And here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Nathan Carnes will be on the mound for the Rays tomorrow. We'll hear from him. And Orestes will break down big Ryan Howard and his big swing. Nathan Carnes will be after his 5th win tomorrow. And Xavier Cedeno enters the game here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, obviously, if the Rays want to have a chance to come back and win this game, they need their bullpen to step up right now. Hold this at a 2-run deficit, and hopefully the Rays offense can get something going in the last couple of at-bats.
Brandon Geyer stays on to play right. Cedeno will go into the number 1 spot in the order. Dominic Brown will open the bottom of the 7th inning with the pitcher's spot due. So Brown leads off. Hits one on the ground and a base hit into center field. On the first pitch, the Phillies have a base runner.
Well, when you get a left-handed hitter on a left-handed pitcher, especially late in the game, you're talking about matchups. You do not want to wait around. Wait around and get to the sweeping breaking ball, and jumps early and got a base runner.
Now Cesar Hernandez. He has a double and a triple tonight. His 12th double and his 2nd triple of the year. He bunts foul.
Now, what this Phillies lineup lacks in home run power, they make up for in bunting. We've seen a number of bunts and bunt attempts here tonight by the Phillies. You got to play to your strengths, and the home run ball outside of a couple different guys is not it.
One ball, one strike. Runner goes, cut and a miss. Throw down's going to be in time. Brown is caught stealing. Forsythe put the tag on him. And Brown looking back toward the dugout, asking that they see if they could take a look at that, but nothing going to come of that.
They said, you just come back here. You were out. And that was actually a really nice throw. Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind. Maybe you do take a look at that. The tag goes to the middle. Watch the hands. No tag yet, and the left hand on there. That's really, really close. Brown had an idea, but nothing's going to come of it. And you're in that situation, too, where you could just go out and ask if you didn't have a challenge, which they don't.
This is Beckham at short. Hernandez is the 2nd out. So 2 gone.
You know, they lost that challenge. Well, looking at that play at home plate, but let's see. You're going to go to the middle for the tag. That would have been worth a look. That would have been worth a look. I'm not saying that it gets overturned, but boy, it's certainly worth a look. That glove hasn't touched anything, and that left hand was in there.
And, you know, that's a situation that a second base umpire always finds himself in from that vantage point.
Yep.
It's hard to find a good angle to make that call, and you run the risk of being out of view And actually, it's just like setting a screen. You're screened out of that call if you're the second base umpire so often.
Oh, you can't blame him. I mean, that's the position that he's going to put himself in, and you're right. He's making the call to the best of his ability. Who you blame in that situation is whoever's running the video department for the Phillies.
Well, every team can't have a Chico Fernandez the way the Rays do. And the Tapper foul, the count is 1-2.
There's not enough room in this league for another Chico Fernandez.
No. There's only one. And he's manning the video for the Rays night in and night out. A ball, 2 strikes, the count to Ben Revere. A little tap right side. Forsythe takes care of that one. Phillies are out in the 7th inning. We head to the 8th. It's 5-3 Philadelphia. Gold and Diamond Source game summary. Rays down by 2. Kevin Kiermaier with a triple and a double and 2 runs scored. Cesar Hernandez with a triple and a double and 2 runs batted in. Rays got a run in the 7th inning when Kiermaier opened with a triple. Scored on the base hit by Geyer and trimmed the deficit to 2, and that's the way it stands as we go to the 8th. Junmar Gomez will make his 40th appearance.
Well, 44 in the 3rd innings. Opponents average at 269, 35 and 12 on the strikeouts to walks. Rays need to get to work, and they're going to start in the middle of their lineup.
Evan Longoria to lead off against Gomez. Chopped to third, fair behind the bag. Franco, a high throw. Longoria will stay at first base. A high throw, rough at first, went up after that ball. And he and Longoria made contact. Even though the ball rolled quite a distance into foul territory, Longoria remains at first.
Well, Franco, we saw the strong throw early in the ball game, accurate. He took a little bit off that, thinking he had time, and just kind of lazied that ball over there, and it just sailed on him. Boy, oh boy. You know, that's the teams that are not having good years, bad teams, those are the kind of bad mistakes they make. This time late in the game opens the door for the Rays.
Leadoff man on, and here's James Loney. The pitch is a strike. Rays have made 2 errors tonight. They were both charged to Loney. They came in the 5th inning when the Phillies scored 2 additional runs. Those runs the difference right now. The last time Loney committed 2 errors in a game was the only other time he's done that, and that was on the 17th of August, 2008. Line drive, and it's going to be caught by Hernandez. Longoria ducking back in at first. 1 out. You can follow the Rays all season this year with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Boy, Loney making a bid for a line drive hit, but Hernandez at second base, tall enough to grab it. And that will give David DeJesus an opportunity. 1 on, 1 out. And he lifts a fly ball into left, not quite to the track. Caught by Revere. And staying at first is Longoria. Well, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Rays tonight, now all of 11 with a walk.
Tough to put anything consistently together, because that's the middle of your lineup as you cut down through there. The top couple have had a nice night, but all of a sudden it comes to a screeching halt as you move down the lineup, and it's just tough to put anything consistent together as far as the lineup goes.
Well, John Jaso will pinch hit now for Beckham. So Jaso hitting .353, bats in the place of Beckham. Beckham had gone 0 for 3. Jaso cut the miss. Coming into this series, only 5 players are left on these 2 teams that participated in the 2008 World Series. Evan Longoria, the one for the Rays. John Jaso was with the Rays briefly that year coming up, but no postseason. So the Rays had Longoria. The Phillies have Ryan Howard, Carlos Ruiz, Cole Hamels, and Chase Utley, who's presently on the DL. Cut the miss. Jaso down in the count 1 and 2. And there's a partial list of those still around here on these 2 clubs who participated in the '08 World Series. Jaso out on strikes. So the Rays cannot take advantage of the leadoff error, trailing 5-3. Saturday, it's an MLB doubleheader starting with the Athletics taking on the Giants. Then at 7 p.m. Eastern, the Braves battle the Cardinals. Coverage begins at 4 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Now the Rays with Jake Elmore in there at shortstop now. Beckham lifted for the pinch hitter, and so Elmore is now at short. And Steve Geltz takes over on the hill. He is the fourth Rays pitcher in this game.
And he's been a busy man. He's on for the 44th time. He's got a little over 44 innings of work, 44 strikeouts. And a very impressive opponent's average of 170.
So here is Geltz facing the third baseman, Michael Franco. Ground ball down to third, and Longoria makes the pickup there. One pitch, one out. Geltz goes into the sixth spot in the order, and Elmore will be in the number one spot. Papelbon, Jonathan Papelbon, the right-hander, the closer on this staff, loosening in the Phillies bullpen. Want to know the count to Jeff Francoeur.
Jeff Francoeur hasn't been retired in like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, he hit the walk-off home run to complete the series sweep of the Marlins. He's on 3 times in this one.
He only had 3 at-bats in that Miami series and went 3 for 3, 2 home runs.
2 and 1. He has walked and twice singled in this game. Sends a high fly ball to center field. Kiermaier, 2 gone. 2 outs in the 8th. The Rays are down by 2 runs. In the 9th, they'll have Kiermaier to lead it off. Darren Ruff bats with the bases empty and 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. 1 ball, no strikes. High fly ball to center. Kiermaier is there. 1, 2, 3. Go the Phillies. And we head into the 9th. The Rays need at least 2, down 5-3.
Stadium. Coming up after the game, it'll be our Rays Live post-game show with Rich Hollenberg and Ressus Estrada in studio. I'll be gathering interviews in the Rays clubhouse, including the manager, Kevin Cash. Hopefully, they'll be talking about a comeback here in the 9th inning, guys.
All right, Todd, good idea. We shall see if the Rays can get it done. They'll have to do it against Jonathan Papelbon, the 5th pitcher in this game for the Phillies.
Well, he's been perfect thus far. 15 out of 15 in the save department, on for the 35th time. Not a lot of opportunities, but boy, he has made the most of them.
Andres Blanco enters the game defensively at third base for the Phillies. And Kevin Kiermaier set to lead off against Papelbon.
Well, what you're looking for here, get a base runner and take your chances. Small ballpark, you got a chance to pop one, but you need to get somebody on base.
And a foul ball on that fastball. Strike one.
Well, it's the fastball. It doesn't have the same velocity as it once did. The slider and also the split, more fastball split against left-handed hitters. That's what's to look for here against Kiermaier.
So a couple foul balls on the fastball. That one in at 93. We'll see where he stands on the active leader list in saves. Only 3 beyond 300. And he's third at 340. Again, a foul ball.
When you could see Kevin Kiermaier just kind of flipping that bat, a very defensive swing as he looks to just foul that pitch off, not get beat with the heater up in the zone. But when you start to go after that pitch, guess what? It sets up that split, and we'll see if he goes with it here. Maybe climb the ladder again. I think that's what they're going to do.
It's pop foul, third base side. Blanco after it, out of play. Rays need a base runner. Down by 2 in the 9th. Rays with 3 runs. Kiermaier has scored 2 of those runs.
Shaking to that heater.
Lifted foul again, out of play. So Papelbon has consistently pumped them in there, and Kiermaier consistently fouling them away.
Looking for one mistake, looking for him to make one mistake out over the plate. They're going to come back in with that heater in and probably up near the hands.
And it's strike 3 call.
That's the difference in Jonathan Papelbon now. It's not pure stuff. It's being able to locate. And so he comes in with the heater. It is not at the hands. It's at the knees. But boy, is it placed well. My goodness.
Hey, look at the sequence of pitches there.
I mean, it was all fastball, in and out, in and out. Never allowing Kiermaier to be comfortable where on the plate he was coming.
Kurt Casale. Casale 0 for 3 and down 1 strike. Two. Papelbon has yet to deliver a pitch that's not a strike.
And he's going to climb the ladder here away. That's what they want. You see Rupp where he wants the glove, wants the pitch, and they get it. I'm telling you, this is pitching. I mean, he has put every pitch just about exactly where he's wanted it. 0-2, they want it up. He gives it to him right where he had that glove, top of the zone.
So 2 up and 2 down, and it will be Brandon Guyer, who battled as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and finally got the base hit that drove home Kiermaier to close the gap to 2. Now he's just trying to keep this game going. Strike 1. Ten pitches, 10 strikes from Papelbon.
This is a clinic. What he's doing here to the Rays hitters is masterful through 11 pitches.
Two up, 2 down, 2 strikes the count.
Same thing, elevated heater.
And it's foul back. Well, that makes it a dozen. 12 pitches, 12 strikes.
You know, and sometimes that's not a good ratio to have. But when they're as quality as the strikes that Papelbon has featured all day long.
A foul ball again. Starting pitchers, the pitchers of record. Ground ball, shortstop. Galvis with the throw, and this game is over. 3 up, 3 down. Papelbon retires the Rays in order in the top of the 9th inning. He made 14 pitches, 14 strikes, and gets the job done to close out this one for Philadelphia. Save number 16 for Papelbon. Buchanan will get his first win of the year. He is 1-5. Moore, the loser, Matt, now 1-1. Took 2 hours and 44 minutes to play this game before 20,148 in Philadelphia. For the Phillies, 5 runs, 9 hits, 1 error, 3 left. For the Rays, 3 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors, with 6 men left on base. And it's a 5-3 final of Game 1 of this 3-game series in Philadelphia. For Brian Anderson and Todd Callis and the rest of our crew, this is Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. We'll be with you tomorrow at 6:30. Our coverage begins on Sun Sports with Game 2 of this 3-game series. Rays Live, the postgame, presented by Checkers, comes your way next.